Rebecca, the Times front page. We were looking at this already, weren't we, Sarah? Elderly will bear the brunt of strikes at Christmas. This is the beginning of another junior doctor strike, 35%, the optics of which look appalling, whatever side you're on.
Yeah, really, it's a really difficult story, isn't it? I think this is the 26th day of strikes that we're going to have this year. More to come in January. You know, obviously, no one wants to see elderly, vulnerable, unwell people put at risk. We know that Christmas, winter is a particularly difficult time for the NHS. So the fact that we now have got, integral members of the workforce on strike is terrible. But I think kind of rather than focusing on the optics, the pressure needs to go on the government here to make this negotiation work. If 35% is apparently unworkable and 9% isn't unworkable, that isn't the end. That can't be the end of the conversation.
But we just heard from Victoria Atkins. Apparently they walked away, the BMA. And can I just say, for this programme, and this is absolutely true. The team that work behind do so much work. The BMA were approached all yesterday, right? All yesterday by this programme, wouldn't say a word. So do we believe the government walked away? Apparently Victoria Atkins, Jack, is a different animal to Steve Barclay.
Yes.
Is this, and people won't like this, I mean, nurses have settled, consultants have settled, the doctors in Scotland have settled. To me, this smacks a bit political, don't you, by the junior doctors? Beginning to look like that.
I think it's completely political. And, large elements of the BMA have, in the past sort of 5 years, been captured by some very strident left-wingers who have made no bones about loathing the Tory government, which they find themselves negotiating with. Listen, obviously everybody has the right to strike. However, I'd love to see some polling on this because I think the public have really turned against them. Completely. It's quite uncomfortable, isn't it? It's uncomfortable, one, because it's healthcare. And it's uncomfortable also because it's healthcare at a time where it's so... the NHS is on its knees over the winter period and they're incredibly stretched as it is. And then they're asking for 35%, which most of the public could only dream of. But nurses, their nurses could only dream of.
To be fair, is this is to correct pay erosion over many, many, many years.
Well, they say 13, so it's aimed at the Tories.
If they'd been carried on being paid at the rate they should have been paid at, they would be earning that money now. So it's not. It's making up for a real-time pay loss. And I think rather than the frustration being kind of directed at these people who are critical to keeping our country going, these are the people who we made work through the pandemic. These are our.
But also, with respect, Becca, the nurses,
the
nurses and the consultants. You were talking about it, you have a family member. I completely accept that. Maybe they need to sit down and do a deal staggered over 3 or 5 years. But I'm telling you now, and I think it's a really interesting point, I don't believe the British public, come Christmas, come the elderly, come people dying, whether people like this or not, their sympathy for junior doctors, I think, will ebb away. I really do.